Welcome to the Guitar Dads Podcast, a podcast for guitar people by guitar dads. This week, tick-tock, the clock is ticking for music discovery. Are the Grammys grandmas? And our special guest sits down with two cowboys and whiskey on this week's Guitar Dads Podcast. Now, the reason our listeners do drink, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave, and welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. As we say each week, thanks to our loyal listeners. We appreciate you for coming back. And if you are new, thanks for checking us out. Hang out next week. We got more coming next week and the weeks after. So thanks for jumping aboard. You know where you can find us at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram, where you see posts of the clips of the show and all that fun stuff. And at Guitar Dads Podcast, come join us over on Facebook and join the group. And yes, we do put videos on YouTube. We do have a couple listeners who are, they prefer to actually watch the show, which is cool. So
I don't know why, but they do.
I don't know why you want to watch us, but
it's like you're watching,
we're here,
like Talking Heads.
So, but there are those out there that do. So go check us
right.
out over on YouTube as well.
But you may want to watch this one. You may want to watch this week.
Yes, you definitely want to watch this one
because we have a special guest. Yep.
Yes. So I think is that it, Matt? Did I cover everything?
Did you say Patreon?
Of course.
Yeah,
Patreon. If you want to support the show, we would certainly appreciate it. So go over to patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast, where we have a number of tiers. If you want to support the show, we would greatly appreciate it. And a huge thank you to our patrons that we have right now. What about now, Matt? Did I get it all?
You got everything. You got it.
Jeez.
Well done.
It's one of those things, you got to make sure you're covering all the ground. It's kind of,
get those
even though we do
covered.
this every single week, you think every week I would have it nailed, but no.
Yeah. Come on, man. All right.
All right. Enough of this. Let's get on to our special guest. We're so excited tonight. So hailing from North Carolina, but now out of Nashville, Krystal King has been wowing country music fans with her incredible vocals, down-home classic sounds, and a twist on country music. It's traditional, it's modern, it's awesome. As a songwriter, her lyrics are soulful, truthful, and unique, and we are so happy to be joined by Krystal King. Krystal, hey, thanks for joining the Guitar Dads.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Happy to have another, a country songwriter on, a singer-songwriter.
Yes.
So we love it. So thank you.
Yeah, as our listeners know, you know Taylor Hughes, who's been on the show a couple times. You guys we'll get into all this tonight, but we know you guys are good buds and songwriters together and all that stuff. So we want to hear all the dirt on Taylor tonight, okay? So
She's got way more dirt on me than I do her.
Well then, hey, Taylor,
really?
we'll get you back on.
Okay, all right. It's good to know.
We need to have both of you on at the same time, and then just Matt and I can sit back and just hear the stories.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we need. You know what? Really quick, I do have to make a correction. I think that this has become like a new segment. Is the correction?
The
of the
correction
week.
segment? Yeah.
This week is a correction of our dad joke of the week, and I apologize. It was not John Willis who sent in the joke last week. It was Jay Wells. So Jay, sorry, man. I apologize. But last week we appreciate your joke. It was good.
Thanks, man.
Anyway,
I love that segment, the dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
Yeah,
it's the dad joke of the week. Yeah,
those are the best too.
We're not going to do
Guitar Dad podcast.
Maybe we'll have to throw one in this week since you like that, Krystal. We don't usually do it with guests, but we'll have to throw one in this week since you're into it.
We could.
So, Dave, what are we doing? We're going to get into some news, see what Krystal thinks about the news of the week. We had some very sad news this week.
Yeah, let's get
especially
into
in
it,
the
Matt.
country
Where are we
music
going?
world. Well, we had some sad
Matt?
news in the country music world. Oh, we're
Hold
going
on,
to the
we haven't gotten
Dadaverse.
in there yet.
I'm sorry.
I know
we're going to the Dadaverse.
There we go.
Jeez,
you
right.
have to get into the Dadaverse before you can deliver the news.
I got excited because of the sad news. So Toby Keith has passed away.
No.
Legendary Toby Keith. So, I mean, I'm sure like in Nashville, everybody must be just like devastated this week with losing Toby Keith, right, Krystal? I mean, this is The guy was
Yeah,
a
I definitely,
giant.
a lot of my friends and just co-writers and people in the community have been, making lots of posts and yeah, I mean, he was a big icon and just incredible songwriter. Um, like he just had some of the most unique songs too.
He really did.
Like
He
his
really
stuff didn't
did.
all sound the same. Like all the content was different. Every song was about something different. Yeah, and I think he was just a good guy. I didn't know him personally, but everything I've ever heard around town, if somebody's not
Yeah.
a good guy, you usually know about it. But
Yeah. Word gets around. Yeah.
yeah, but he, great guy. So sad. I saw that last picture of him and I hadn't realized, I guess, like how how rough things had been. Like I
Yeah.
didn't recognize him in that picture, which
It's
devastating.
horrible.
But
Yeah. Well, apparently,
Yeah,
I
it
know
was.
he
I
announced
agree.
when
That
he was.
picture was shocking.
It was shocking. I
hmm
know he announced
Yeah.
when he was diagnosed, but I think it was stomach cancer. I happened
hmm
to lose. I happened to lose a cousin to stomach cancer, and it's brutal. It's a horrible thing. I mean, all cancer is brutal, but it's tough. So we wish him, you know, rest in peace, Toby. But yeah,
yeah,
what a legacy he left. Everything from really kind of serious patriotic songs to Red Solo Cup. So
Yep.
hmm But he also
Yep.
did, yeah, he also did some serious stuff like
he
My
did.
List,
That's right.
the
Yeah, an
American
amazing
Soldier. Like he
song.
did just,
Yeah,
all over the board, which was just super
yeah,
cool. I
yeah.
did learn a fun fact about him today. So Red Solo Cup, I did not know this, but apparently he had asked Jimmy Buffett to do that song as a duet, and Jimmy Buffett told him no.
He
Really?
turned it
Oh
down.
He turned it
Yeah.
man.
down.
That's such a
But
Jimmy Buffett song. I mean, that's
I know, and Jimmy Buffett did ask Toby like a couple years later to do a duet with him. So they did do a
Oh,
duet,
they
but he
did do
turned
one.
down Red
Okay.
Solo Cup, and
Well,
um,
that's the thing. Like he had these like serious kind of like brooding songs, and then he's got like Red Solo Cup, which is like hilarious. It's like a comedy
yeah.
song, right? It's like is there anything this guy couldn't do? Unbelievable,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
So wow, we're gonna miss him. That's a sad
Yeah.
one.
I mean, he really was a legend in his own right.
Yeah.
It's a tough loss for the music world as a whole.
Yeah, I
And
know.
he was one of those guys too. He was like, so he did a ton for our troops, and he was always overseas performing, and
Yeah, he really was.
he did a lot of stuff like outside of music, and it was just
hmm
he was a very unique and legendary kind of guy. So sad news to pass on, but
Sad news.
let's move away from the sad stuff and kind of get into some of the better stuff. Well, I don't
Yeah,
know if this is that much better, but I wanted
yeah,
to
it's
get
not better.
Crystal's thought on this, which is why I put it in here. um, so this is a kind of a big deal. Universal Music Group versus TikTok.
Yeah,
So they did not reach an agreement on a renewed licensing deal, and so all this music that Universal owns is now going to be yanked off of TikTok,
yep,
huh,
um, which
yep.
is kind of a big deal when you
Which
think about
includes Taylor Swift, by the
which
way.
includes Taylor Swift, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
okay,
So, and you're talking big artists and also small artists. And
yeah.
I think we really take for granted how much we use social media to, like, Crystal, you can speak more on this, but artists use social media so much to expose listeners to music. And we don't even realize as social media users how much how much we find via social media. Oh, that sounds great. I'm going to go listen to another song by that artist.
hmm
Yeah.
And so, what are your thoughts on this?
Actually, I totally missed this piece of news. So this is like the first time I'm actually hearing about it. There's always pros and cons when it comes to royalties and just how to get your music out there. I think definitely as like an up and coming artist, having your music on social media is huge. Like you need that so much. But if it's for artists that are established and under a label that actually has the funds to promote them in other ways, especially if it's more downloadable, we get more money when things are downloaded. So I don't necessarily blame, there's people like Taylor Swift and like Garth Brooks and folks like that who you can't get their music everywhere because they are kind of trying to push the industry towards actually purchasing your music. So,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. This whole TikTok thing is really interesting to me because Dave, I mean, it is true that a lot of young people that are on TikTok all the time, like that's how they discover music, especially older music. You know, there was the whole Fleetwood Mac thing that happened a few years ago, right? That kind of revitalized Fleetwood Mac to some extent because it was just a viral video. So, you know, it's interesting. It's like, you know, at some on one side, I don't really blame Universal for being like, look, if this is what
No.
how are people going to consume our music, you got to pay us more, right? Which
Right.
hopefully, you know, Krystal, probably you'll probably roll your eyes on this. Hopefully, that means they pay the artist more. I doubt it.
I was just going to say, but only if that brings more money to the artist,
Yeah.
which we
Right.
rant
Not
about
just
on
the
this
record
show.
label.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's
We
probably
rant
just
about
the
this on the
label.
show every week.
Yeah, it's probably just
Right.
the label. But it's actually
But I
interesting
also
because
think it's a gateway too, in a way, because I
Oh,
feel like
totally.
you're seeing a lot of younger people now being exposed to much older music, and I think that just starts the ball rolling towards their music exploration and discovery into other artists. So, you
Yeah,
know, this has, you know, this is going to have a big impact depending on how long this thing drags
totally.
on.
Yeah,
Bo the
yeah.
dog has arrived.
Oh, he's
Oh,
here.
Bo the dog.
Bo the
He's currently
dog.
trying
We
to
didn't get
push
to see
over my
Bo
table.
earlier.
So if you see my camera moving, he's trying to be an
He's up
attention
in
whore
it.
over here.
Yeah, he's up
Get
in
up there,
there.
Bo. Let's ask you some questions.
I love that.
He's like, I don't want to be on the camera, but I want your attention.
He needs the attention. Yeah, I get it. That's how I act all the time. Um, anyway, yeah. So this is gonna be interesting to see how this TikTok thing plays out. But it is true because my kids will like know songs. Like we'll be listening to the radio, be like, I know this song. And it's like an old song, and I'm like, how do you know that song? And it's like, well, I heard it on TikTok. So
Saw it on
it's
TikTok.
I mean, it's
major
definitely for
discovery.
independent artists. It's huge. I mean,
Yeah, I can
honestly,
imagine.
like if you think about like the up and coming artists currently,
Yeah.
you know, there's Alexandra Kay, Ashley Cook, Cooper Allen. They were all kind of part of this like 615 house that basically just made a lot of like reels and TikToks and did a lot of content
Oh,
together.
interesting.
And so
Oh,
they
okay.
all kind of like rose up at the same time because they
That's
all got
interesting.
people followed the 615 house and then they started following these artists and then they started getting, you know, Priscilla Block. Like there's just so many people who like
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason that they got signed and they're exploding now is because of social media.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. Yeah, that's just, so there you go, right? The power is unreal, right? It's just
it really is.
that's the game these days. So
Mm-hmm.
cool. Well, we'll see what happens with this.
All right. Well, one more quick music piece, because obviously the Grammys were on Sunday, and I used
Yes.
to. Matt and I grew up loving watching the Grammys and the American Music Awards and all that stuff, and then it kind of took a to us kind of took a bit of a nosedive for a while. But the show the other night, I thought was very good. You know, did you get a chance to watch it? And what are your thoughts on the Grammys overall?
I actually did not watch it. I tend to not watch the Grammys very often. I usually do watch like the CMA, CMT awards, the
Yeah.
country music ones. But I usually don't watch the Grammys, but occasionally I'll get the hankering for it. Probably the real reason I didn't watch it is because my husband was like, no, he's not into that.
I'm
he was like,
usually not either, but
I
I
don't
was kind
blame
of
him.
I got teased into it watching a little bit this year, so
yeah, so he was like,
curious.
if you want to watch it, you got to go in there. So I didn't watch it, but I did see some of the highlights.
Did you hear about
see
the
some-
you heard about the Tracy Chapman and what's the guy's name?
Luke Combs?
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Luke Combs. Yeah, I like Luke Combs because he usually wears fishing shirts that I wear all summer long here. So I'm like, that's my kind of guy. It's like,
He actually went to my college. He
Oh,
went
really?
Oh,
to
he did.
State.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is that
Oh,
right?
okay.
So big
Yeah.
fan of his. I
he's
actually I
great.
interviewed him on the school radio station.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very
and
cool.
he wasn't going to the school anymore, but he was still living in the area. And I just remember being like, man, this guy's voice is killer. And then
he's
we
great.
talked about writing at one point, and then we never did. And now I'm
Whoa,
like,
man! You're like, I probably should have
Oh.
done some writing with him. Yeah,
should have done some.
He's a big deal these days. Yeah,
He
I love
is.
that. I love that cover he did. I love that Tracy Chapman was saying it with him. I thought that was great. There were some other highlights too that were kind of cool that I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I don't know, Dave. I think the Grammys are getting a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that if this year's any indication, maybe they're improving a little bit. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I
I
did
don't know.
see that Joni Mitchell played, and
Yeah, she
apparently
did.
yes,
that was apparently her first time
It
performing at the
was.
Grammy,
I know. Like,
which
how
is
does that
really,
work?
wild.
Yeah. Like, how is that her
that's
Like
first
Joni
time?
Mitchell.
insane.
Like, how is that Joni Mitchell's only time on the Grammys? Like, this is ridiculous. But
Right.
anyway, that was cool. Yep, I thought that was cool. Brandy Carlisle was there singing with her. Love Brandy Carlisle. That was cool. Yeah. So yeah, there was some cool moments. Not gonna lie.
Well, maybe wait a minute. Didn't so maybe Joni Mitchell played because she made that the Rolling Stone top 250 list, or was it
One of the best guitarists. Yeah, Joni Mitchell. That's right. Dave and I were like, really?
That's
like she's one of the best guitarists? Interesting.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
that's not. I'm sick of that list.
She deserves her due. No, but
definitely
anyway,
a legendary songwriter. I mean,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yes. I mean, come on. So.
All right. Well, enough of all the chit chat. Krystal, let's get to this because we are so curious to know, how you kind of got into the music world. Like, where did this all start?
Yeah, where did this all start?
Yeah, where did it all start? I honestly don't know. I think like it all just started. I heard Alec Jackson on the radio one time, and I told my mom to stop because I liked it, and
Nice.
then that was it. Like that's all I know. But ever since then, I wanted to play and listen to country music. So it was just sort of like a bug that bit me very early on, or that I was just kind of born with, because nobody really listened to country music when I was growing up.
I was going to ask you that. Like, were you from a musical family? That's a question I always love to ask. So not at all. Interesting.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just.
I mean, they enjoyed music, but they weren't music like buffs or anything.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Cool. So you just kind of got the bug on it, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Great. And so, how did it start? Did you start? How did you get into it? Like, how did you decide? Like, what was the moment where you decided you wanted to be like this is what you wanted to do?
I couldn't tell you the moment because I think like literally that's the only thing I ever remember wanting to be.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then I begged for a guitar for a while and finally got a guitar, and eventually like middle school, I think, started taking guitar lessons. I did not practice nearly enough. But then
none of us do.
I did get, I had a guitar teacher who actually kind of started helping me like learn how to structure, chord patterns and the whole circle of fifths thing, and how to kind of structure songwriting. So it was with him that I actually wrote my first song. Nice. And they did some like coffee shop shows. Like he was really involved in just like the community, as a guitar teacher. So, I did my first shows through him. There was like a lady at my church. She'd let me like open some coffee house shows for her. Nice. So yeah, it's kind of what I always wanted to be. I think like end of high school, a little bit in college, I kind of like veered off of that path a little bit. Just, it's not that I didn't want to be that anymore. I think the realistic brain kind of took over for a little bit. Yeah. And then at some point I was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to go do this.
Yeah. Good for you. I mean,
so
that's
when did you make
leap.
the decision then when did you make the decision then to move to Nashville?
So right after college, I worked, in Charlotte for about a year. And it was like during that time, like I got a real job for like a year. And while I enjoyed what I was doing, but I was just still felt like something was missing, and I just didn't really know how to get started in music, but I still like had the drive and desire to do that. And I joined the Nashville Songwriters Association, and they had a chapter in Charlotte. So I started kind of, meeting with them and seeing some of the musicians. And, I think that kind of boosted my confidence too, because I was like, I can do this. Like I have that natural instinct for songwriting. Nice. So me and my husband had gotten engaged at the time, and we were long distance. So either I had to move or he had to move. And I was like, hey, let's just go to Nashville.
That's awesome.
So it's just as simple as that.
That's amazing. You're like, you know what? Let's just do this.
Yeah, we're just I mean, he knew I wanted to move to Nashville. It would just, right out of college, you're like, okay, well, I can't afford anything. I can't, I need to get a job first, start getting some money in my bank account. And, we had looked at Nashville, but neither of us had gotten a job there before. And I think just like at that point, whenever I was like, okay, let's just like set the intention that this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna wait till the summer, and we're gonna figure it out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess once you make that commitment to music, I mean, Nashville, you kind of have, that's obviously, that's the place you have to kind of go, right? I mean, there's no other place to do it. So, especially nowadays.
Yeah, and I mean, you can definitely get involved in the music in your community and expand out from there. But I think for me, I just was so lost at how to start, and I didn't really know anybody that really sang like country music or the style of stuff I did or the style of writing that I did. So it was really nice to come to Nashville and just kind of have a like-minded community to feed off of.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Who were your early influences then?
Well, obviously Alan Jackson, Shania Twain in the early days.
Ooh, love it.
But I think like who really like influenced my music was like Dixie Chicks. Leanne Womack. She was kind of like like I loved her stuff then, but I think I've actually like gotten into her stuff at older age, and I love it like even more. Sugarland, like in middle school, was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Oh man, Sugarland's so great. Oh my god, I forgot about Sugarland. So Dave and I are, you know the reason why I love Sugarland. You're gonna love this because we're big Bon Jovi fans. Remember she did the song with Bon Jovi. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was such a good song too.
Who says you can't go
Now,
home?
wait a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
I still play it now. I'm like, who says? I freaking love it. Anyway. But anyway,
I think we're burying the lead here because Krystal just made us feel really old when she said Sugarland in middle school in the same sentence.
I know. Well, that's that's good. We like to appeal to the younger, set here. But
yeah,
Matt
so
and I
it's
just
kind
turned
of
21.
wide variety, but definitely like a lot of the '90s country. Like I did love Toby Keith, and I loved George Strait, Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood. All of those were my favorites.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sugarland was like a little later, and then like nowadays I love like Eric Church, Chris Stapleton.
Yes. Yeah.
Ashley McBride, Lainey Wilson, like all of
Lainey
those.
Wilson.
Oh yeah, Lainey Wilson.
Lainey Wilson just blows me away. And so oh man, yeah, so good.
And just her rise has been so fast.
Yeah,
and
I can't
like
believe it.
Taking over.
Yeah, amazing. Who else did you just mention in that? Because that just struck a.
Ashley McBride. Eric Church, Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton. Oh, Stapleton. Oh my. Eric Church I love too, but Stapleton. Oh my God, I can't believe I love him so much. I'm gonna go see him over the summer, Dave. I think Dave's gonna be away or something, so he's not gonna make it. But
check out for Eric Church, I would say like the Mr. Misunderstood album.
Oh yeah,
was like that one and Desperate Man. Those were
great albums.
Yeah, I mean
I like Eric. I'm a big Eric
he's
Church
cool.
fan.
Yeah, he's definitely cool. I remember when he first kind of came on the scene. I remember I liked some of his songs as well, but then he got like progressively better. I remember that.
Well, he's always had good hooks and great songwriting, but like that album, Mr. Misunderstood, was like the first one where he was like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing now. And I'm going to add a little funk and a little blues here and a little rock into my country. And it was just super cool and unique.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, he's cool.
You hear so much music in his music. So many styles of music in his music.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's great. But awesome. So there you go. So that's
I didn't, there was that one moment, for about 5 minutes where I didn't want to like him when he canceled the show to go to the Final Four and angered a lot of fans when he canceled that show. But, hey,
he's kind of like, not to compare him with like the great Johnny Cash, but like, he had his moments. Like he did some things that were a little shady, and
they all have their moments.
It's like outlaw country,
but
it's like that's what it is.
Just having a rock star moment.
That's right. You gotta be a rock star sometimes. Like that's the way it goes. You gotta be a diva occasionally. Just don't take it to extremes. So, that's awesome. So, let's see. What was I gonna ask you?
Go
ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Matt. No, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to get into some of the songs and kind of
let's do it.
Yeah, Bo's really he's into it.
He's like pushing his way in here. He's usually not this bad. Usually
he's like Eric Church. We're talking Eric Church.
Yeah, he's like we're talking about Chris Stapleton.
He's like pushing over my table. I'm gonna have to move to the higher table in a minute. So leave me alone.
Sounds great.
Yeah, he's good. Let him come on the show. He's good.
But tell us. But
I don't
so,
mind if he comes on. He's just keep him pushing my table. There we go.
Oh yeah. We can have that.
so when you were in the kind of Charlotte area, that's actually surprising to me. So like there wasn't like a big like kind of country music thing going on in that Charlotte area. That's interesting too.
No, not that
Yeah.
I had really found, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure maybe there was a handful here or there. I mean, there's like Coyote Joe's, which is a big venue, but I just hadn't. In the year I was there, I don't feel like I really broke into like a country
Like a
music scene.
Yeah.
Like it tended to be either more like hip hop pop or like indie artsy things. Just I guess cities tend to lean towards that in general.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm sure like you get out of the city a little bit, everybody's listening to like Toby Keith and stuff. So that's probably how it works.
But, you just get out of the city limits, and then you get all the rednecks.
That's right. All the rednecks are out there listening to Toby Keith, and people don't realize that because we're here in the Northeast, and people don't really understand. Like when you get up to like these more rural areas, like country music just really gets more and more popular. Like where we're going to see Chris Stapleton, he's not even coming to Boston, although I'm sure he would do well in Boston. But he's up in New Hampshire, which is like a more rural kind of state. Right. So like, and all those acts, like the country acts will come through there and do incredibly well. It's really funny. Like people are like, oh, the Northeast, like they don't listen to country music. As soon as you get into these more rural areas, people really get into it. Same with like upstate in New York, Western New York, like country music is big in those areas.
Huge.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. It's getting more and more popular too. Like this, especially this more like modern country. It seems like it's more popular now, especially in these more like urban areas than it used to be.
And I would say probably even now if I went back to Charlotte, like it would probably be way different, but it was I mean I guess like six years ago, I mean country music's definitely changed a lot in that time, and we've kind of brought in a whole other group of people. Like whenever I was growing up, it wasn't cool to listen to country, but now it's like an in thing.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, like I can give you an example. Like in Boston, on Lansdowne Street, which is the street by Fenway Park, it was always known for like rock clubs. There's like a country-ish bar like on that street now. What's it called? Like Loretta's or something, Dave? It's kind of got like
I think it's Loretta's, something like that.
It's kind of got this like country theme, and I'm like, what the heck? Because when Dave and I were like in college and stuff, like it was all like rock bars and like dance clubs and stuff like that.
Dance clubs.
And those like are still kind of there, but it's like then you got like this country bar. It's like, what the hell is going on in Boston? It's really funny. But I've been there and it's a fun time. So anyway, and Toby Keith's bar was over when he had his bar. What was that? It was called like I Love This Bar. Remember that? He had that like chain of bars. He had that over by the Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play.
Play.
I think you're exactly right. Like the country kind of swept the nation to some extent. So, which is good for you as a country artist.
But in Nashville, like, is the vibe? It seems like there's more of this movement of kind of like Matt mentioned the term modern country, but is there that purposeful kind of when a lot of these country artists are writing down there, is there a lot of this purposeful, directional movement into that kind of style, or is that just like what's coming out because that's just the sound?
I think it's probably a mix of both. I think people are recognizing like what's popular and what's selling, and they're kind of trying to write in that pocket.
Right.
But I think, I'm not really sure. It's definitely, I think when writers are writing for those artists, they're trying to just do what's working right now. But I think there are people who just came here and naturally that was their style. I mean, that's always what they say as an artist anyways, is like, if you try to mimic what everybody else is doing, you're already behind.
Yeah,
so like,
it's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a matter of like doing what you do and then hoping that somebody likes it. I mean, even like, I think about different waves in country music, like in Gretchen Wilson and John Rich. And there was sort of this like renewed kind of outlaw-y theme that was going on. And then like there was the other wave of like the Florida Georgia line that kind of was like geared it towards more like pop country and bro country. And then
Definitely.
now we kind of have this wave of like Morgan Wallen and Hardy, who are
Right.
kind of like, they had, I don't know, like hip hoppy
Yeah.
influences.
Yep.
And who's the
Definitely very hooky writing, and wordplay is popular right now.
yeah, there's that. And then you got like who's the guy? Oh, sorry, I'm not the best on this stuff. What is his name? Zach. Who's the new Zach? The guy whose name is Zach.
Oh,
Sounds like Zach
Zach
Brown.
Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not Zach Brown. It's
Yeah.
another guy. Yeah. So he's another one that's bringing like this kind of like really raw, like singer songwriter country stuff kind of back around as well. Which
Yeah,
I
kind
think
of just almost like Americana, folky country.
like the folky country.
And I think a lot of that started with like Tyler Childers, and then it was like that scene
Tyler
kind of
Childers,
took
another
off
one.
too.
That's right. Yeah, like Tyler Childers and Zach Bryan. Like this is like the thing, and I keep hearing like, oh, you got to check out the Zach Bryan guy, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Like I expected something totally different, right? I expected like more like a bro country, and then I listen to that, I'm like, oh, this is actually really interesting. So
It's the different waves are definitely interesting.
I think there's a lot of cool because of that. Like that's why we love to talk to country artists, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on like in the country music world, right? It's not just it's like a lot of the pop stuff. It's like it's pop stuff, right? It's like this is what it is, and the country stuff, because of this diversity of artists, it's really a cool place to be and a cool thing to follow right now. So
Yeah, it really is true, Matt. Because when if you put on like a country like mix station, on Apple or Spotify or whatever, you could be going down so many different roads.
Oh
within a half an hour of listening to a number of songs, and it's crazy. It's really interesting.
And Dave and I were talking about this artist last week. Dave, what was her name? Royale
Lynn. Now, is it Royal Lynn or is it Royale Lynn?
Have you ever heard of her?
Do you know who this is, Krystal?
We're putting you on the spot. She's like doing hard rock.
So no,
she has like
like hard country rock.
Yeah.
Does she have red hair?
I think she has blonde hair. But,
okay, never mind. That's not who I'm thinking of.
She's one of these artists where it's like, who knows? Her hair could change its color any time. But it's like you listen to that. It's like you're listening to like hard rock, right? But it's it's like country singing with like hard rock, almost like metalish music underneath. So there's like it just runs. It runs a gamut.
Hardy's new album is like that.
Is that right?
Actually,
okay.
Yeah, so his latest one is called like The Mockingbird and the Crow, and you can when you look on Spotify, half the album's all in lowercase and half the album's all in like caps.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's like country and then like metal screamo.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
But with still like redneck themes.
Oh, okay, all right. So she's more like, she always has like the country singing voice, but like there's some aggressive music behind it, which we thought was kind of cool. But anyway, let's talk about your stuff though, Krystal. Like tell us about like your songwriting. I do want to point out, I'll just name out for our listeners that may not know your songs, 90 Proof, Cowboys and Whiskey, Red Wine and White Lies. There's an alcohol theme going on here. So so tell us what's going on there, Krystal. And we love it, by the way. It's awesome. And
I mean, I enjoy a beverage every so often.
I forgot this. You're the reason that I drink. Forgot about that one.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I don't drink as much as I sing about drinking.
Well, but that's the thing. Like you sing about drinking, but then sometimes you're like, I'm not really drinking, right? Like, like House Fire. I got bourbon, but I don't drink. Don't you have a lyric? It's like, that's the lyric, right? So something like that, right? So, but yeah, I think it's cool. But like, tell me about like your songwriting approach. Like, how do you get into this?
I tend to be like a hook writer. I usually tend to be more of like an idea person.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of like storytelling and imagery.
Yeah.
So a lot of my songs kind of are based around that. I typically, start with an idea or a hook and then write towards that.
Oh, nice.
Occasionally it'll happen differently. Maybe it'll be a line that I have and we weave it in there and it inspires the song or
Yeah.
a lick on the guitar. But typically I'm like idea first and then going from there. But yeah, I like a lot of like storytelling songs, like you think like Brandy Clark or
Yep.
just where you get to create characters and you just get to have fun with it, and
Yeah.
that's usually what inspires my writing. And for some reason alcohol just seems to be a very versatile and inspiring topic for me.
That's awesome. But so like Red Wine and White Lies, like great hook on that song.
Mhm.
Really catchy. Love it. Does that hook just kind of come to you? Do you like wake up one day and you're like Red Wine and White Lies? Like what how does it come to you?
I think that one I was reading. Sometimes I'll do like writing exercise type
Yep.
books.
Yep.
And one of the prompts was like writing about, it was like red wine and black coffee
Okay.
was the line.
Oh, nice.
And I just liked the contrast of the colors.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And somehow like White Lies popped into my head, and I was like, that's cool. And I was
Yeah.
like, that has to be a cheating song.
Yeah.
So actually, I
Yes.
actually wrote that one with Taylor. That was
that's
Taylor
a Taylor.
Hughes.
That's
you
a
did?
Taylor
Okay.
collab. Oh, that's great. I love it.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. No, that's really cool. Yeah, no.
I was
love
like,
it.
this one needs to be sassy, so she's the gal.
She's got the sass.
She'll give you the sass.
She brings the sass. Love it. Oh yeah.
Does.
So that's great. You're right. It's like a great cheating song that you got going on there. I love it. Love it. I love the hook. But you just released one recently, right? Housefire. Another great one. Tell us about that.
So yeah, that's kind of my my emo sad girl era song.
Okay.
I hadn't released a sad song yet. And that one actually was not the idea first. That one actually, I had the line, "I don't smoke, but I got a lighter."
Yeah, I love it.
Which I feel like I've heard in a lot of songs now, but I had not at the time that I thought of that. And I was like, the song needs to be something about fire, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think we were just tossing around ideas, and my co-write with, her name's Stephanie Joyce.
Oh, cool.
And I threw that line out to her, and it actually kind of fit an idea that she had in her book. And so we kind of just started developing that character of somebody that's just really unhappy in their relationship. And then maybe literally or metaphorically burning down the house, kind of just as like a, I don't know, just an empowering moment of just kind of just like, okay, I'm going to just destroy this and start over, but I'm going to take charge of this.
Yeah. I don't smoke, but I got
kind of redemption.
Yeah. I love it. I'm not sick, but I got pills. I mean, I love it. It's like, it's intense, right? It's like,
it's got some strong lyrics.
You listen to this and you're like, this person's got problems. Right?
I honestly, when we first wrote it, it was one of those, like, I loved it. But I also recognized that it was kind of intense. And I kind of worried about that at first.
Oh,
but honestly,
no, I think it's great. Yeah.
The response to that has been like, people have like dug the fact that it's kind of dark and it's kind of, it goes there.
Yeah, it's got to go there, right? Like, I think that's the stuff that resonates with people. You just let yourself go there, and that's what really people kind of latch onto, I think, right? And it's like,
it's when you're very true to yourself like that, people really do. It does resonate, I think, a lot better than when you're trying to come. And sometimes, like, it's obvious when an artist is trying to come off, unlike themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So just doing, and honestly, like, I've heard that from other artists as well, but like for me, I think at first when I moved to town, what we were talking about before was like, I was trying to write what I thought was like popular at the time, and what was, what I was hearing on the radio. And eventually I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm just going to write for the hell of it and write for fun. Some of my lyrics are kind of quirky and weird, and but I was like, you know what, if I like it, then it's fine. And honestly, people have been more receptive. I think they can really tell when you're being authentic and when you're being yourself, because I'm not cool. If I like sit there and try to be cool and hip, you're gonna see right through me. But if I'm just like, okay, I'm this like quirky redneck, you're like, okay, I can relate. This makes sense.
Yeah, it's what it is, right? Like, no, I think that's great. I think that comes across. Like, I definitely hear that I hear that in the music, Krystal. I think you're doing it. You're doing it. It definitely comes
Well,
across.
thank you, thank you. I
Now,
mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Krystal, do you write everything on guitar? You sometimes write on keys at all, or how do you tend to come across a song?
You write
when
with
you
no
first start?
instruments? I'm always amazed if
um,
somebody writes with no instruments too.
both. I
Mm.
would say I either write with guitar or sometimes like I'll get a melody or words and I'll kind of sing it and then I'll put it to guitar later.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
Yeah.
so both, because sometimes like I don't know, sometimes like guitar can be limiting because I'm not like a crazy savant, so it can be like, okay, like I need to put it in
Yeah.
this like, pattern of these notes that fit together. Where sometimes like if you're just listening and coming up with a melody in your head, you can kind of do something cool that's outside of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like sometimes in my head, I just come up with something really like vanilla and lame, and I need the guitar to like break myself out of that chord
Sure.
progression and try something new. But I don't usually write on keys. I play like minimally, but no, it's not my cup of
That's your
tea.
That's
thing.
awesome.
That's your
No.
thing. Now,
That's
of course,
amazing.
I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention some. Now, I don't know if the people that you're recording with, a lot of these session players, are you using some of the same people on these songs, or have you been do you kind of spread do you spread those talents out to other people?
Well, and
Or
I
how
want to add,
how do you approach
I
that?
actually want to add to that question because that's where I wanted to go. I was listening to your music in my car where I have a pretty good stereo in my car. The sonic quality of it's amazing. So like it just kind of like I turn it on. I was like, oh my god, like I don't know who she's got producing this stuff, but it's ridiculously good. So that stuff I pick up on. But yeah, so tell us about like like the production, like who's playing on it, all that kind of stuff, because it comes across.
It's all across
Yeah.
the board currently. The only person that has kind of been consistent with almost all the music, except for I guess there was like one cover song I did and Slow Love.
Oh, okay.
He was not on those, but Mike Loudermilk has played on pretty much everything else of mine.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So everything up until um, Red Wine and White Lies and House Fire, he actually produced and played all the instruments on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he did everything. So he's incredible. He used to play for Crystal Gale. His dad was a huge songwriter in the 60s, like
great.
just so talented. But yeah, he produced and played all the instruments on those. And then I did kind of I don't know how to call it, like it was bass ass words on the new project. I did it in the funky way, but he was the acoustic guitar player on all the new tracks.
All right, great.
So I still used him, but he didn't produce
the whole thing.
those.
Does he have like a studio? Is that how it works? Yeah,
He has a studio in the RCA building in Nashville.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yep, he's with he shares it with Wood Newton, who's a big songwriter. He wrote like Riding with Private Malone and a few other ones.
Oh, that's very
a little more old school writer, but
okay. Wow,
yeah.
That's great. Well, yeah, I mean, he's doing it right because, like I said, like I was kind of surprised by the kind of sonic quality and production value of it all, and they know how to make it.
Yeah, and I have to the new stuff. I definitely have to give credit to Dr. Ford because Daniel Ford. He is the mixer and master of the new stuff, and he really just like took it to the next level. The new stuff didn't really have a producer. I mean, I guess I produced it, but not like really.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't like to say I produced it because I like didn't really, because I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't have a producer, so it was kind of just like
it was your ideas.
Whatever happened.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the session.
Yeah. So are you somebody who's like uber particular about your sound, or do you kind of you allow yourself to kind of go a little bit free and allow your producers to kind of guide you through some of this?
Oh no, I was definitely a control freak during this project. The last stuff, it kind of was just whatever Mike came up with, and I was like, all right, cool.
I like it,
and I'm still okay with that to an extent. But I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do kind of in the future for my next projects.
Nice.
because I was very hands-on in this last project. We actually used, it was a student recording studio.
Oh, okay.
So I hired the band, we practiced and kind of made the arrangements together, and we went in and laid down 7 songs, just kind of like the basic tracks.
Wow.
And then like there was a couple people like the steel player and the fiddle player who couldn't make it into the studio, so they would like send me their parts. And we all like went to a girl's house to do the harmonies.
Nice.
So then I had like 1.5 million stems.
Yep.
So I took those all to a mixer, and we kind of just started piecing it together. So they would kind of sit with me, and they would kind of maybe make like a rough layout of how they think it would sound, and then I would sit with them and be like, nah, I don't like that part. Okay, this needs something. Do we have something that works for that, or do we need to bring somebody in to play for that?
Yeah.
So it was definitely a process, but it turned out really cool. So I'm very proud of
Oh,
it.
that's great. No, it sounds great. Yeah.
Killer stuff.
Yeah, it just sounds so good. I love the guitar. You know, we're the guitar dads, so we have to comment on the guitar work. We love the guitar work. You know, we want to know, you know, so we don't expect you to know this, but next time you come on, we expect a full report on all the guitars and amps and pedals and all the gear that was used.
Well, there was five different guitar players on this whole 7-song project.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
There was so Mike Loudermilk did all the acoustic guitars.
Nice.
Okay. On Red Wine and White Lies, the guitar player was Scotty Murray, who was also the steel. He did all the steel guitar tracks.
I was going to ask you who's doing the steel work, because it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was kind of my diamond in the rough that I hired him, but I don't think I realized how good he was.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the project, I was like, yeah, like you're never going to leave me.
Yeah. Well, you're
smart.
stuck.
You're stuck with me.
You're smart.
So yeah, he did the lead guitar on Red Wine and White Lies, and he did the steel guitar on Housefire.
Nice.
And then the lead guitar player on Housefire was a guy named Chris Condon.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. Because there's a solo, if I remember correctly, there's like a little guitar solo in Housefire. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it kind of builds.
Yeah, it kind of builds, and then there's like this guitar solo. Yeah, so next time you talk to him, like ask him about all the gear he's using, and then like make sure you come back to us and let us know.
I'm gonna have to write it down. I'll be like, I don't know.
Matt's never gonna let this go, by the way. So,
but you know, actually, so you play acoustic. I noticed like in a lot of your live stuff, you got an acoustic guitar in your hand. Like, tell us about your acoustic guitar. What kind is it? You know, how long you had it? What's the story?
Yeah, so my baby is a Taylor.
Nice.
It's like the 314 CE, so it's like the cheapest of their high end guitars, basically.
Yeah, I love it. I love those.
The handmade ones.
I have a 514. I love them. I love it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I've had it for like 20 years. Yeah, it's awesome guitar. Yeah.
So I got that one in college.
Nice.
And it was really my first like big girl guitar, because I had like a baby like 3/4 size Ibanez that didn't have a pickup in it or anything, and I had to set up the mic to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, in college I was finally like, yeah, we've got to upgrade. So I got the Taylor, and that's been my baby ever since. So I've had it for oh God, I'm making myself feel old now, but like 15 years now.
Wow, good for you. That's amazing. Cool.
And then I do have like another, like my backup guitar, which I still love. It sounds great. Is a Martin. It's an X Special series. So it's kind of a smaller body, but it sounds really good. And I like it too that it's smaller, because Martin's like necks tend to just be huge.
They're chunky. Yeah.
They're chunky.
Yeah.
So this one has a skinnier neck like the Taylors, and it also has like the fiberglass like back and
interesting.
sides.
I didn't realize they had those. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So whenever I'm going to like Florida and there's lots of salt in the air, it's like, okay,
yeah,
I feel better about this.
Yeah. And I see this guitar like peeking up behind you. What's up with that one?
This one? Actually, this is like my wall of things. There's like fiddle and a banjo. That's the Martin.
That's the Martin. And then over that side, there's a guitar. Oh, it's
mandolin.
a mandolin.
It's a
mandolin.
A classical guitar. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great.
And no, I don't play all of those.
You play mandolin?
Play all those. Okay.
I don't know what it's too small. How do you play it? It's so small. I don't get it.
Oh, I know. It's so tiny. They're all like ones that I aspire to learn.
Oh, awesome.
haven't yet.
I love that mandolin sound in country music. It's so cool. Oh,
Hey,
man.
y'all, I hate to do this,
Yeah.
but I need to grab my phone charger really
Oh,
quick.
yeah,
Is that
please.
okay?
Go ahead. Go do
Oh
it.
yeah,
No
please
problem.
do before that kicks
Yeah,
out.
no
Yeah.
problem.
No, listen, Matt, when it comes to the mandolin, you know damn well that if you and I bought mandolins, all we would be playing is Losing My Religion.
No, I would play. I would play Maggie.
That's about all we would learn.
No, I would play Rod Stewart.
And
Maggie
yeah, you
May.
you do some Rod Stewart.
Yeah, I would be like,
absolutely.
"Wake up, Maggie! I got something to say to you." That's what I'd be playing if I learned how to play mandolin. I remember when I was in Nashville, I went to Carter's Vintage Guitars, and they have original Gibson mandolins, and they want like $200,000 for these things. They have them in like glass cases, and it's like original Gibson, like 1920 something mandolin, and it's like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. It's like, $180,000. Like, wow, crazy. So okay, yeah. So
yeah, we somehow acquired these instruments, and I've told myself I'm going to learn them, and then I'm like, oh, when do I have time?
Yeah,
with what time exactly?
You can't go wrong with the Taylor. Now on your Taylor, do you just plug that into the PA and just be done with it? Because that's what I always did with my Taylor. Yeah, it sounds great, right? It works, right?
Yeah, usually like the only thing I've ever really had to do, there's some venues that I've needed like a preamp because like the signal is lower on the Taylor for some reason, or the pickup that I have in it. But other than that, like I have had a pedal that I can add some like reverb or some chorus and stuff. But honestly, I'm usually lazy, like I was with this, and just I'm just ready to plug and go. Like let's just make it as simple as possible.
Make it easy. And can I ask you, when you're playing live, are you using like wedges? Are you using in-ears? Like, what do you do?
It depends, like where I am. If it's my equipment or if I'm using house equipment.
Yeah, so you're flexible.
Yeah, typically I use wedges. Occasionally I'll use in-ears. I definitely like in-ears sometimes. Like I don't, and I do, if that makes sense. If I can get a good mix in an in-ears.
Yeah, so it's all about that. Like my experience, like if you can, like, with my band, like we travel with a sound guy, we have like the app on our phone, and we can control everything we do in our I can't imagine like having in-ears and like having a sound guy be in charge of it. That would drive me crazy. But but as a singer, I think it's unbelievable, especially in a loud band. It's like, to me, it's the greatest thing that ever happened. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're
sometimes in-ears can just be a little like muffled, I think, which I don't like, which I prefer the monitors, but I do like that I can cut out the volume of other instruments and then I can pull up my voice, because that helps me to like not over sing and not be screaming over it.
Totally.
So that's nice. And so yeah, it just depends kind of what the setup is. And I have a different setup for pretty much any of my shows. Like sometimes I just take like an acoustic amp and
you're done.
Plug in my mic and my guitar, and that's it.
And you do it solo.
Or if I need more, I have like a Yorkville PA head that's powered and everything. Oh, nice. So I'll use that.
So you just go with that.
Passive speakers.
That's awesome. Now, I see you got like a lot of shows going on. Like, tell us about that as we I think we're coming up on time, right, Dave?
Kind of as we kind of wrap up, we got a couple other questions for you too, because we do a segment with every one of our guests. We do a segment a lot of times on the show, but when our guests come on, we absolutely have to do this. But we'll get to that in a second. What's next for you?
Tell us what's next.
About,
what's happening,
what's coming up with shows and what's coming up with some new music. When can we hear some new stuff?
Yeah. So I have some local shows just the next couple weeks, and then we're going on a Florida tour. I'm going with my friend Kirsty Kraus. We're going to spend like a week and a half in Florida, mostly around like the Gulf, Tampa, Bradenton, Anna Maria Island areas. So that's kind of the next big show run. And then as far as new music goes, Housefire, there's going to be a music video.
Nice.
I don't have details yet,
Very
but
cool.
I will be posting about that soon. So check it out on my social media. And then Housefire and Red Wine and White Lies are part of a 7-song project. That's like done and ready to go. So I'm just going to be continuing to
trickle it out.
Put out a few more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna release, I think, 2 more singles off of it, and then the full
Oh
project.
man,
So
I can't wait.
the next one's probably May-ish.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
All right,
Mayish. Okay, all
be
right.
looking out
We'll
for
just have
that.
to wait. Just hold your horses and wait it out. So,
I know.
so
I
I'm
know.
a little
I'm
bit concerned about this house
dangling it.
fire video. Like, don't like it sounds dangerous. Like, don't got to get the
No, we didn't.
fire department.
We didn't have any
Didn't burn
crazy.
anything down.
No, we didn't have any crazy pyrotechnics. I was low budget, so the house, there was no
You didn't light a house on fire.
in the
Okay, good. All right,
background.
good.
That would have been epic and badass, but no.
yes.
Yeah.
Um,
You could light like a.
There was a cat that walked through the candles, and we were a little scared that he was going to catch on fire.
You should have done. You should have done the thing where like you light like a dollhouse on fire and like zoom in on it so it looks like a real house.
Yeah, like a miniature. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
See,
Somebody did mention that
you
to me,
gotta
but I
hire
was
us for your production of your videos.
Matt's just looking
What
to be
the heck?
hired on any of your projects.
Jeez.
So
Anyway.
the video's simple and it's like simple and pretty.
Oh,
But there's lots of candles. I think we lit like 48
wow.
candles is what my friend
wow.
counted.
So that's dangerous. Okay.
Well, we're looking forward to this.
This sounds great. Well, we can't wait. So also tell us, because it looks like you got like a regular spot on Radio Margaritaville. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, so I DJ on Radio Margaritaville every Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 3
cool.
Eastern Standard Time. So
that's incredible.
I was actually there today, right before hopping on with y'all.
Tell us, like, for people that don't know what Radio
out.
Margaritaville is, like, what is it? Where do you find it?
So it's a Sirius XM radio station, so satellite radio. So if you have it in your car, or if you have the app, you can find it there. It's channel 24.
Cool.
And if you don't, you can also find it, just fun fact, it's the only like Sirius XM station you can get for free anywhere. It's on Margaritaville.com.
Really?
There's actually a stream on there
really?
as well.
Oh, it is. Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Matt and I are both
we're
serious
both serious
subscribers,
people.
so we didn't know that at all.
So we know what it is.
So it's owned by Jimmy Buffett.
Yep.
So
Yep.
obviously Margaritaville. So owned by Jimmy Buffett. And yeah, so whenever he signed with Sirius XM, he already had like a live stream like station on his website. So he kind of got grandfathered in whenever he went in with them. That was like part of the deal, because he was like, I can't take away this like outlet for my fans. They'll be really upset.
Wow. So what do you like? What do you play on there? Do you like play country stuff? Do you just what do you do on it?
Well, I don't pick the music,
you don't?
unfortunately. No. Most people think DJs actually pick the music. Most of the time,
It's
they
just
don't.
it's just the rotation that is on that channel. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's the rotation that's on the channel. That's usually decided by the program director.
Yeah.
But some smaller stations, or if there's like specialty shows, then you have a little bit more control over it. But it's a mix. So we play obviously a lot of Jimmy Buffett music.
Love it.
We do some country artists, as far as like Zach Brown Band, Kenny Chesney, any of the Jimmy collaborations with like Clint Black or Alan Jackson, Toby Keith.
Love it.
Also do some reggae. So a lot of like Bob Marley, Ziggy Marley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's that vibe.
Yeah.
That sounds
so
great.
just anything like Island Vibe.
Yeah.
Some pop people like Nico Moon, the Whelan Brothers, that kind of have just that mixed sound.
Yeah, that's cool.
And some just oldies thrown in there as well.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Very
That's cool. So like we're gonna
awesome.
have to turn this on and listen to you. That's great.
Yes.
All right, Krystal, one more thing as we kind of wrap up, and then we'll bring everything over to Patreon. Matt and I do a segment a lot of bands you should be listening to. One of our themes of the podcast is keeping rock alive. So we always love to ask our guests, give us a band that we probably haven't heard of and our listeners might not have heard of, but we definitely should be checking out.
Oh my. Well, this isn't rock, and it's not a band.
It doesn't have to be rock. It can be any artist.
Okay.
No, it doesn't have to be rock.
Okay. Nicole Gallen is one.
Okay.
And she's a big songwriter.
Okay.
But she's also got her own stuff out now, and it's just been really, really cool to listen to.
Oh, great. All right.
So she's kind of like a mix in that like pop country vein, but she's great. She wrote like Automatic, Miranda Lambert.
Oh, really?
Tequila with the Day. Like, she's a big songwriter.
Oh, great.
But her original stuff is really cool.
And is it true that you wrote?
Okay,
did you
cool.
write Jesus in Jail with Taylor?
Yes,
oh,
I
man,
did.
Great tune as well. Oh,
Another
love
killer
it.
tune.
Thank
love
you.
it. So good. Well, okay, great. That's awesome, Dave. I think that's going to wrap us. I think we're getting to the end of the main
So,
episode.
Chris, Krystal, give our listeners all the socials, where they can find you, all that stuff. Shout it out.
So on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, all that. Also on all the social media platforms. A one-stop shop is Krystal King Music. It's Krystal with a K, like the burgers. And it's pretty much Krystal King Music on all my socials as well.
Very cool. All right, guys, if you have not checked out Krystal King yet, please go check her out. You absolutely are going to love her. Hey, Krystal, we had a blast tonight, and we hope to get you back on at some point when some new music comes out. We'd love to be talking about that. But thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a blast.
Awesome, Krystal. Thank you. We wish you continued success.
Thank you.
All right.
I think that was this week's Guitar Dads podcast.
All right, keep rocking live. We'll catch you on the flip.
Woo.